The reason I'm standing for council is that this council shows a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability to the community. Too many decisions are being made behind closed doors.
They are very important, our local boards, that we should be listening to the community, and the Mayor and the governing body should be listening to us and give us enough funding to help resolve the problems that we have identified.
And obviously we need to have intensification, but it has to be done in a sustainable way. And from a community point of view, sustainability means having green spaces, it means having amenities to make the community worth living in. You know, we've inherited a really nice part of New Zealand here, and we need to leave it in a better situation than it was when we got it.
The need for intense housing, for compact housing is there, and that need needs to be met, whether it's for young families, whether it's for older people, whether it's for vulnerable people. Those needs need to be met. But equally, the controls for the developer in particular have to be there.
Our team is made up of members of the community that come from different areas that have actually seen the impact of council decisions upon their range, or their professions and their range of spheres within the community, and decided to actually do something about it. And that's the action. We are people that want to do things for the community, have worked in the community for a long time now, many of us, several decades, and we want to bring that experience to be able to move our community forward and not have it stagnate as it is under this council.
Politicians have got a way of not wanting to tell the public what's happening. And by sitting and talking to people and telling them what council are thinking about, they say they consult, but they don't. They consult in Takapuna, they consult with the big business in Takapuna. They don't actually consult with the locals.
In the most beautiful area of Devonport, the main street with our Victorian buildings, just behind there, the council is allowing 13-metre development, which means 3-storey development, which means domination of those 2-storey Victorian buildings. That's the real issue. Where do we go with that 13 metres? There's little protection for ensuring quality buildings. There's little protection for ensuring that they fit in terms of scale or form or design or even materials. So it's an open sore really, just festering.
My background is that I'm an environmental consultant. I've worked in New Zealand overseas on a number of different projects. I've been a commissioner on various resource consent decisions and so on. So I know the environmental process and I know the decision-making process.
I'm a local resident in Devonport. I've been an assistant principal for a good 10 years and involved in educational management for at least 20 years. While I was doing that and living here with the family, I became the chairperson of Devonport Heritage.
The issues that I originally stood for have never been resolved. One of them was more long-term car parking in central Takapuna. Council had bought some years before a gasometer site, and we're going to put 7 stories of car parking for all-day car park. That site is still sitting there empty. And the other issue was building on reserves. Council wanted to, the Business Association wanted to put a children's creche on Potters Park. And as a researcher of historic titles, I went and got the original deed that was given to the council on condition no buildings were put on it. So I am still now fighting for open space and for long-term car parking in central Takapuna.
The Sure Action team is committed to getting things done for our community, and that means working closely with council, the local board and the community to embark on projects that the community both desires and wants, not projects that just council wants.
The experience that I bring is that I have a track record over a number of years in community volunteering, as a restoration volunteer. I'm a community-minded person. I work for a charity, and I've worked in the media production industry as well. So I come from a grassroots level, caring about the community and caring about our environment.
We were looking at making sure that we were living up to that idea of the livable city. The livable city had to be a balanced city, and we had an idea the Unitary Plan panel would produce that. Unfortunately, it hasn't produced a balanced plan, and this has really led me to now stand for the local board.
The primary reason why I'm standing was that I became aware of the issues to do with the Takapuna Beach motor camp, and I attended a public meeting in December last year and saw a process where the local board completely disregarded the views of 80% of the community and made a decision based on what I thought was just a total derogation of democracy, in fact. And that moved me to the point where I'd met Jan over the years on various issues, and I was talking to her about the possibility of standing, and she invited me to meet Grant, and I joined Sure Action as a team.
I've got a PhD and a Master's in Public Policy, which gives me the ability to analyse policy that's put forward by Council and also to help develop new ones for the community. But probably more importantly, I've been both a Member of Parliament, a City Councillor, and I've sat on 2 boards. And with amalgamation, I think the experience of being on both boards in the ward is really important, because I've seen how the effect of council policy is when it's imposed upon the 2 boards. A lot of our decisions are made behind closed doors, and a lot of the decisions are not backed up by sufficient information, very little tangible evidence. Opportunity cost is usually missing, and the options provided to the board are very constrained and corralled into a certain direction.
I've been campaigning with Jan O'Connor at the Takapuna Sunday markets, and one thing that's really struck me is a lot of people didn't know about how the car park was earmarked for development, and people were coming to us just to ask more about it before they even signed the petition. So that's interesting to me, that they weren't even aware that these decisions were being made.
There has been a motion in March to dispose of our land. So the only way I'm going to win is people power. And when I get a petition going up to nearly 10,000, I and Sure Action will present it to the board of Panuku.
So Jan and I have worked to open up the processes of the local board so that all their meetings now are open to the public and advertised and publicly available.
I'm passionate about the unique natural environment that we have here on the North Shore, and what motivates me is protecting it. The Sure Action team, they have the strongest environmental policies and a strong social conscience.
We have to go back to council and say it's not good enough to simply call it special character. They know we're an asset, now let's call it the real asset. Let's not fudge it.
Takapuna Beach Holiday Park should be sited on its entire footprint that it has now. Recent decisions have tried to remove 10% of that footprint. That should be reinstated. That decision should be overturned. It should never have been passed in the first place.
Our team brings a range of experience across all policy areas that is able to analyse and investigate and tease through that policy and make decisions that are of value to this community.